I'm kidding.
That's going in there, just so you know. Okay. Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my septum piercing and my experience getting it done, and how it's healing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. I've had my septum pierced for 3 weeks and 2 days. It's supposed to take about 2 to 4 months to heal. I know mine isn't healed yet, but I don't even know it's there anymore. The feeling after I first got it pierced was that I had a piece of metal in my nose, and now I can't even feel it. It's basic. It's like this piercing here. Like, I have no idea it's there until I touch it or I see it, and then I know it's there. Obviously I already know it's there. I'm just gonna stop talking now. Okay, so the size of the piercing that I am pierced with is a 16 gauge. It's just a little bit smaller than a belly ring, which is a 14 gauge. And I am pierced with titanium, which is hypoallergenic. So yeah. Okay, so my experience, what I did that day before I got it pierced, the day before, I was like, I've been wanting this piercing for so long, since I was probably 19, which is almost 2 years. So I told my friend, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go get my nose pierced tomorrow. And I did. So what I did before I actually got my piercing, I went to Fatburger and I ate there. I made sure I had a good meal in my stomach. I also had a milkshake so I could get some sugar in me so I wouldn't pass out or anything, because that would be really, really bad. So just make sure that before you get a piercing that you've eaten, you've drank water, you have something in your system, and that's going to help a lot with the whole experience. Then I went to the tattoo shop. I went to Studio City Tattoo and Body Piercing, and that's on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City. I'm in Burbank, so it's pretty close. It's like a 8-minute drive. That wasn't that far at all. And I went in and I just had to wait for a few minutes while Helena took care of another customer, and then she got right to me. She was super sweet, very nice. I could talk to her, I could ask her questions. She was just very welcoming. The whole shop was like so cool. It's a pirate theme, so I don't know, I like pirates. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so she got me to sign some paperwork, took my ID, then took all of the jewelry and went and sterilized all of it, got it all ready, and then within 5 or 10 minutes I was back there and getting my piercings. Was at the same time that I got my septum piercing, I got my second lobe pierced. So I did this piercing first, and then I did my septum piercing, and what she did was she marked it, like on my septum right here, and then she lined it up, and she was like, take a deep breath, and then let it out, and when you let it out, I'll do the piercing. And I was like, okay. But she lined up the needle, and honestly, that part hurt worse than the actual piercing. Like, I felt the needle touch the skin of my nose, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be awful. Like, way worse than I anticipated. Then she said take a deep breath, let it out, and then she pierced it, and I didn't even know that I knew that she pierced it, but it did not hurt like I thought it was going to. But I like to psych myself out before I get piercings. I tell myself it's gonna be like the worst pain I've ever experienced, and then I start getting like nervous, like scared or whatever, and then when the piercing actually happens, it doesn't hurt at all. But I have a pretty high pain tolerance for piercings and tattoos anyway. I don't know, this was actually one of the least painful piercings besides my lobe piercing that I've ever gotten. and that was surprising to me. Also, I didn't bleed at all. So yeah, so she pierced it, and then she threaded the jewelry through, and she showed me how to like flip it up and everything. I still can't flip mine right now. I think it's a little too tight. I'm gonna have to loosen it or pull it out a little bit so that I can flip it. On a scale of 1 to 10, this piercing was probably a 2 or a 3 in all honesty. My lobe was literally a 1, and this was a 3. I'm gonna say it's a 3. So I had a sweet spot, and that's the squishy part inside of your nose right here that they usually pierce through. If you don't have a sweet spot, they have to pierce through the cartilage. Luckily, I didn't have that problem. I actually had a sweet spot. To get this piercing, or any piercing, you have to be 18 years or older or have a parent's permission. Please don't get pierced at a place that doesn't take ID. If they don't check your ID, they probably are not the most sanitary place to go. You need to do some research on where you want to be pierced. Make sure that they are experienced in the type of piercing that you want, just to make sure that you get your piercing done right, because having a piercing done wrong is not a pleasant experience. I've never experienced it myself, but I know some people that have, and it's not fun. So please do your research. This type of piercing doesn't normally reject. It can get infected if you don't take care of it. But anyway, so the way that you are going to take care of it is get distilled water and some non-iodized sea salt. So what Helena told me to do, and what the paper that explains how to take care of it that she gave me tells you to do, is get a gallon of distilled water, which I went and got. I got this at like a Rite Aid store. So I went to Vaughn's to get a non-iodized sea salt. So what the paper tells you to do is to get 4 teaspoons and just put that into the gallon of distilled water, and then you just shake it up. And what you're going to want to do to clean it is get a shot glass or a small container. Like I use a tiny bowl sometimes, and what you're going to do is pour the mixture into the shot glass or the bowl or whatever you're going to use. And that's loud. That's a loud car. A loud car. Anyway, so what you're going to do is put it in the microwave, and you're going to warm it up for about 10 seconds is what I usually do. Sometimes a little bit longer, just depends. And then I let it cool down a little bit, and then I set a timer for 3 to 5 minutes. I usually do 5. Put your nose into the shot glass for like 5 minutes, and then you're done. And you can also use like a Q-tip to go in around and make sure all like the crusty stuff is like gone. You're gonna want to clean 2 to 3 times a day. I only clean 2 times a day, in the morning and at night. There is such thing as over cleaning, so don't overdo it. You really only need to do it 2 or 3 times a day, like I said. So just make a routine for that, and you should be fine. Make sure when you touch your piercing that your hands are clean, because you don't want to get any germs or bacteria inside of that. You do not want to have an infected piercing, believe me. My nose ring, it took forever to heal because I kept getting it infected, and it's because I couldn't stop touching it. I touched it all the time. So just make sure that your hands are clean and that you clean your piercing the way that you're supposed to, because if not, it'll get infected. Let's see what else I need to talk about. Right after I got it pierced, it was fine. That night I went and I hung out with friends, and didn't hurt at all. I was showing everybody, I was like, hey, look at my new piercing, and like everybody loved it. The next day and the day after that, and maybe the day after that, it swelled a lot. I mean, not a lot, but it swelled. I was having a hard time talking because, you know, your whole face is like, it's connected. So you get your nose pierced, it kind of messes with your top lip. So I was talking, and when I talk, my nose moves, and I'm pretty expressive, so my nose is involved in everything my face does. So I was talking and my nose was just doing some of this stuff. It was uncomfortable. My piercing never really hurt. It hurt when I hit it, like I would accidentally knock it, or while I was sleeping I would hit it and I would wake up and my nose would be like in the wrong spot when I woke up, so I would have to clean it and then I would put it back the way it was supposed to be. So it wasn't anything bad. It swelled, but it didn't swell super bad. It was pretty good. Like it's healing very well. Another thing you need to be prepared for is the fact that people might not like your piercing. I have a lot of people right now that don't like my piercing, but you know, I got it for me. I really like the way this piercing looks. I like the way it looked on other people, and I thought that I would like it on myself. So I got it and I love it. I absolutely love my piercing. I love all of my piercings. So you just need to prepare yourself for that. If people don't like it, just know that you didn't get it for them, you got it for you, and other people need to understand that. Like, you got your piercings because you like piercings, you like that particular piercing, and you think that it's going to look good on you. The good thing about the septum piercing is that if you don't want people to know you have it, you can just flip it up into your nose and nobody's going to be the wiser. It's pretty great. I'll show you how to flip it, but I'm not actually going to flip it because mine, like I said, is too tight right now, and I don't know, I guess I have a large septum or something, and I can't flip it right now. So it's gonna look kind of like this. And then you'll just put it up in there. It's usually better if you have a darker colored septum ring, because then it'll actually blend into your nose. It really doesn't matter. You can flip it and nobody's gonna be able to see it unless you like put your face up in the air. Hey guys, sorry I look a little bit different because my battery died completely on me and I had to charge it. I'm quickly losing light now, so I'm just gonna try to make this super fast. If you are thinking about getting this piercing and you just think it's gonna hurt really bad and that's the reason that you're not getting it, if somebody's telling you that it's not gonna look good but you still really want it, don't let that stop you from getting it, because that's what has been stopping me from getting it for a long time, and I finally got it and I love it. I'm in love with it, so it might be the same for you. So just don't let that stop you. I would definitely recommend doing it, getting this done, if it's what you want to do. Helena gave me some advice that I am going to read some of it to you now. She says that she suggests being very mindful of what type of jewelry you choose, since you have to keep it in for a couple months before you can change it. Starting out with jewelry that you can flip up to start with, just so that you can hide it if you need to. You could even leave it flipped up the entire time that it's healing, or you can leave it flipped down the entire time it's healing. It really doesn't matter. But if you get a type of jewelry that you cannot flip, it's just there and everybody's gonna see it. So if you need to hide it, you can't, because it's not healed yet and you can't change the jewelry. So just kind of be mindful of what kind of jewelry that you're gonna get before you get it pierced, and get it pierced with the type of jewelry that will suit you best. Finding a shop that uses quality jewelry and is experienced in that type of piercing. So with healing, the main thing people have trouble with is touching it, which I can attest to. I touch mine all the time and you're not supposed to do that. So just be careful with touching it. Make sure your hands are clean. She says that the septum is kind of tricky because the beads can come offset, which mine do that sometimes. So just make sure that when you fix it, you clean away the crusties and then fix it, because you don't want any of the crusties to like go inside of the piercing, because that's not good for the piercing. It can irritate the piercing. Helena also told me that my septum deviates to one side more. I believe it deviates to my right side more. My jewelry hangs out of one side more than it hangs out of the other side. You probably wouldn't know unless you're a piercer, or myself, because she told me. But she said that that's normal. A lot of people that she pierces have septums that deviate more to one side than the other. So it's normal. I don't have a weird nose. Thank God. That'd be weird. Anyway, my eyes watered so much when I got this piercing. Both of my eyes watered so much. It was crazy. I was not expecting that. Make sure you wear waterproof mascara. That's probably the best bet. You don't want to look like a panda when you leave the tattoo parlor, so just some advice. Wear waterproof mascara. Actually, I think that's about it. Everything that I needed to talk about. I hope I didn't forget anything. If you guys have any questions about my piercing or the septum piercing in general, you can leave them in the comments. If you want to know about my healing experience and how that's going, just ask me. I will answer any questions that I can, and if I can't, then I will direct you to someone who can, or I will ask someone who is experienced in piercing. So yeah, that's it. So peace, guys.